Cool. We are ready. All right. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Headbangers Hangout. Today we're doing a tier list because you guys really seem to like the tier list, and I like making terrible tier lists that enrages the comment section. Today I'm joined by my lovely friend Rian. He's like the only guy that I can think of that was like metal. Yeah, okay, cool. We're gonna get Rian onto here. You want to promote anything?
So I also play in a band. We're not all that good yet, but the band's called Highway Apostles. It's kind of more like dad rock vibes, bluesy stuff.
No,
we do some banging breakdowns every now and again. But
it gives me more Scott Pilgrim vibes than dad rock vibes.
Yeah.
But not like the shit on purpose, like you guys are actually nice. But anyway, we are doing a new metal tier list. We've got all the greats, everything that you love. We've got S, A, B, C, and D tier. It's very difficult to get an F tier for a new metal band because that's not really the point. Before we just get into it, what in your mind is new metal and what makes a good new metal band?
So obviously the main thing is the huge hip-hop influence. Yeah. I feel like that's the biggest defining factor, but there's also a really specific guitar and bass sound. Just, the structure of the riffs and everything that you'll recognize the instant you hear it.
Fair enough.
And yeah, also, I'm not a drummer, so I can't comment on drums all that much, but new metal does have drums.
It does have drums. So you would be surprised how many drums there are.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I have a more, specific list, but it's all for shits and giggles. New metal is about absolutely losing your shit and wanting to eat a baby or something. Yeah. And also, you get bonus points for your new metal band if your band member has dreads. If it played in Need for Speed Most Wanted, that's a big plus. And also if your bass is better and louder than the guitar, then that's also pretty big for new metal. Let's get into it.
Let's start with Linkin Park.
Linkin Park, okay.
For me, that's the band that got me into metal.
Got you into metal, that's very nice.
Back in 8th grade, Linkin Park was like the only band I had in my Apple Music library.
I got more into Green Day than Linkin Park. So I like both, but Green Day was my childhood rather than Linkin Park. But I do get this is the best.
Yeah,
I think it's an automatic S tier for 3 reasons. 1, you will be crucified if you don't put them in S tier, first of all. Secondly, they're so influential and so big, and this is one of the first ones everyone thinks of.
Yeah, of course.
When you say new metal, so it's only fair we put them up. And 3, they're just really good.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't like to group them in the new metal category, but they were part of the scene. They have they tick all the boxes, and they're good, and they stuck around for a long time without changing any members, and that just says a lot.
Alright, so big one out of the way, great. Next up, let me choose one. Let's say Mudvayne, also a very big one. They're all pretty much big. You don't really get small new metal bands though, because you were either huge or you weren't.
Yeah, or you were forgotten.
Yeah. So, Mudvayne, how do you feel about Mudvayne?
Obviously, they're one of the most talented new metal bands out there, in my opinion. Everyone in the band is just god level.
A lot of punk people also like Mudvayne, because obviously the newest stuff is more.
Yeah, and they're not, let's say, as new metal, stereotypical new metal. They also tick all the boxes, but they're not as stereotypically new metal. So I feel like they appeal to a wider audience rather than Limp Bizkit only appeals to new metal guys.
Exactly, yeah. But that's what makes them so cool. It's not like they have this and this. It all kind of mixes. It's all very talented.
Yeah, and they have the outfits. So.
They got a sick,
I feel
distinctive new metal outfit. Yeah.
To be a new metal band, you need to have the outfits.
Yeah. So, A or S?
Or somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between.
Because I don't think they're part of the big 5 of new metal, but they are certainly up there.
How about we put them highest A?
Yeah.
Because I feel like they also didn't last long, which was so sad
Yeah.
because they were so sick. So we put them in
But
higher.
they made a comeback.
They did make a comeback, but
And they're still killing it.
yeah. So we're putting them in A tier. Cool.
Let's go for Deftones.
Deftones.
Seeing as they're also making a comeback and are TikTok's favorite band.
They are TikTok's favorite band. I hope you like my picture. I already had this on my computer from a previous video, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep this. This is Deftones. So, how do you feel about Deftones?
They have to be S tier because they were, I would say kind of early in the game. They were like
Yes.
early 90s. They were already, I mean, they were formed in 1988.
Yeah,
so
they're very old,
They're
actually.
one of the first bands. And they're just like, nobody sounds like them. They're new metal, but
New stuff sounds exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to sound like Deftones
everyone
now.
wants to sound like Deftones, but
But at the time,
they were super unique. And obviously everyone in the band's like
yeah.
also
But-
god level musicians.
Fuck. You've got to think of this objectively. In the 90s and 2000, they weren't as up there with like Limp Bizkit
And
or
also,
whatever.
they didn't want to be associated with new metal.
Yeah, but
They explicitly like declined shows with bands with like Korn because they didn't want to be associated with new metal.
But they're so good. So, are they S tier because they're Deftones, or do we put them in A because they don't want to be?
You make a good point. Let's put them in A tier
A
because
tier.
we're gonna put a lot of people in S tier.
Yeah, a lot of gonna be in S tier. That's completely fair as well. Speaking of the bigs, let's throw in Limp Bizkit. You know what's funny? Like, obviously, Limp Bizkit has a very, let's be kind, niche type of audience.
Yeah.
The type of audience that only wears backwards
holds
caps,
pencils like this.
holds a pencil
Yeah.
like this, and also sexually harasses women.
Yeah.
And they're the coolest guys ever.
Yeah, but
So they think.
But that's the thing. They're like, you can say what you want about Fred Durst. They're a good band.
Holy shit. Like, I unironically really like Limp
Yeah,
Bizkit.
and if you-
because it's not to me about the style of music. Like, for me, their fucking sound is huge.
Yeah, and if you go look at videos like when they played at Woodstock '99, it's insane. They killed it.
It's insane. They kill it. So
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what you think of them. They are.
yeah. And
Honestly,
for me,
so
they
good.
are the quintessential new metal band.
They
if
are-
you think new metal, it's
If you think
Limp
of what
Bizkit.
new metal should be, this
Yeah.
is pretty much it. So they go into S tier. This tier list is looking a bit dull, so let's throw in slightly less big one. Let's throw in Static X. I say slightly less big, but all of these were big. You don't like Static X
Not all
as
that
much.
much. Yeah, everything that I've heard of them has been, kind of generic. Nothing all that stand out. Given I haven't listened like to an album from start to finish. I only listened to one or two songs, but what I've heard from them, I'm not the biggest fan, and to me it feels like they were looking for a gimmick and they kind of didn't find one that stuck, and it's just they kind of been forgotten.
But the dreads, they get bonus
Yeah.
points for dreads. I feel like they've got a lot of different elements to them that are great elements, but because you got all these different elements, instead of being this awesome creative thing, you've created a slightly more dull
Yeah.
thing because it's so similar to other things.
Yeah.
Still really good, but yeah, it wasn't the greatest for me. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they're still very good, so I'd put them in B. B?
I'm more a C guy. But
Ooh, you will see. Okay, if there's something, okay, we'll put it lower B. If there's something better, we'll put them in front. Okay, it's fair.
yeah.
Fair. Okay, cool.
Let's go for Disturbed.
Disturbed. Okay, so automatic huge bonus points because they were Need for Speed 2
Yeah.
Most Wanted. Like, that's already a great one. But seriously, what do you...
Yeah, the only thing for me that's keeping them out of S tier is because they have one famous song.
No!
Or like, hear me out. Like everyone knows. You know the song I'm talking about. And also, in my mind, they not a one-hit wonder, but it's that one song that really popped up and put them on the map.
Yeah, but
And all of the other stuff just kind of goes under the radar. And also that Sound of Silence cover they did.
yeah, that did put a. How do I say this politely? It did not please me.
Yeah,
but that's
it's really good, but it's out of place.
Yeah, but remember, it's irrelevant for this list, though. But the thing, bro, if you listen to that album, like, each one you really recognize. So I don't think it's that much of a fair argument, though.
I just don't know them all that well. I know the one song. Everyone knows the one song.
Okay, we'll put him in A. It hurts, but I think we should put him in A. Whatever. Oh, I'm gonna throw in my curveball. You're gonna love this. Skindred. This is not the biggest band ever. Probably a lot of you are like, who the fuck is Skindred? Again, bonus points for being in a Need for Speed game. But, honestly, they slap so hard. They have such groovy, thick music, and they're Jamaican. Like, the verses and the chorus is just this thick Jamaican accent, and it's so unique to me, and it's so cool, and it's just such a vibe. So I freaking love them, and even till this day, the new stuff is also just super thick and staying true. So also just big respect to that. What do you think of Skindred? I showed you a bit of Skindred.
Yeah, you showed me a bit of Skindred. What you showed me I really liked, but they weren't huge, were they?
They're not that huge. I don't think they're that huge.
Yeah, so they're good, obviously, but I don't think they're S tier.
No. I wouldn't put them in S. So B or A? They sound really good, and it's unique and it's fun, and that's a big thing for new metal, being unique and fun.
I feel a strong B.
A strong B.
Yeah.
You're breaking my heart.
And let's do the band that very recently kind of ruined their reputation.
Yes.
With a certain cover they did.
Oh, Puddle.
Yeah.
Puddle of Mud. So we don't talk about that cover. But anyway, what do you think about the old stuff? Because I really respect it. I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's really good stuff.
Really good, yeah. But like I said, they quite recently washed it all down the toilet with that one, the cover we don't talk about.
Yeah. Puddle of Mud, my first impression of them was like, this is like Linkin Park instruments. Like the nice thick riff and catchy melody, but with Nickelback vocals sometimes. So it's a very strange band for me, like a mixture of good and some things like interesting.
Me, they are obviously S tier musicians, but they did a F tier cover, so for me they're strong C.
Yeah. Ooh, C.
Yeah. I feel like this is going to be first C just because that,
I agree with you, like S tier talent, a lot of talent, but like some choices and
very questionable.
Very questionable choices. You think C?
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Someone needs to go there.
Someone has to go to C. That's the thing, like, it's very difficult to say one of these bands are bad, because there is no bad in new metal. Yeah. But fine, we'll put them in C. And it doesn't mean they're bad, it doesn't mean we don't like them. We love all of these bands. Let's throw in one that you like. Seven Dust.
Yeah.
You love this band.
Yeah, no, they're really good. It's just, I feel like they should have been a lot bigger than they were. Like, they're good enough to, have taken over the world, but it kind of didn't happen.
Yeah.
So for me, they land strongly in the A tier.
I think they're strong.
The only thing that's separating, stopping me from putting the S tier is that I feel like they weren't as big as they could have been.
Okay. Yeah, they had it's like Mudvayne, like they could have, but they just didn't. Let's throw in the girl band, OTEP. You didn't know who OTEP was?
Not a clue.
Bro! Early OTEP stuff is like really cool. I was so surprised you didn't know who OTEP is. But anyway, what was your impression of OTEP?
They were good, you played me 30 seconds of 3 songs. I feel like it would be unfair to make a judgment just based on that.
Okay, I'll listen to a bit more OTEP, so I'll give a bit more judgment on them. I like their vibe. They've got a more unique vibe for me. It's because they take some gothic elements, like the creepy Manson vibes and stuff, but obviously with a female vocalist and really good instruments, very nice groovy stuff. But it's like this weird stuff and these weird creepy verses building up into these awesome choruses, and that's pretty much the vibe all around. So very good band. I don't know where I'd put them, although I do think they are really good. I probably put them in A. My girl would kill me if I didn't put them in S, but this is not her. This is not her channel. So are we doing A for O-Tip?
I think so. From what I heard, I would maybe put them in B, but like I said, it wouldn't be a fair judgment.
How about we put them in B because they're not everyone's cup of tea?
We can do that.
We can do that. That's fair.
From what I heard, they are a bit more out there.
Yeah, a bit more out there. Okay, so let's put them in B. I think that's a nice spot for them. Let's go back to the big ones. System of a Down.
Yeah, for me, they're kind of a standout one because they almost don't fit into this genre, but obviously they are part of this genre, but they're so different. They just looking at the guitars and stuff, they don't do the specific nu metal tropes.
But that's the thing. Nu metal is a very weird genre because like I said earlier, you've got Linkin Park and System of a Down that is definitely nu metal. And then on the other side, you've got like Korn. What?
I feel like it's less a genre and more so a collection of people.
Exactly.
It's a culture, not a genre.
Nu metal's a lifestyle. It's not a genre.
And the bonus points to System of Down for bringing absolute crackhead energy.
Crackhead energy, and I love crackhead energy. So I put them in S because crackheads.
Yeah, and
I love the crackheads.
For me, they're one of the big five, I think.
Yeah. Also,
just for how huge they were.
Also, I forgot to mention it earlier. What makes a good nu metal band? Not just dreads, landing strip chin. You have to have a landing strip chin in the band, and I know a lot of people in System of a Down have landing strip chin. So automatic S tier just for the chin factor. You want to do the odd one. It's a very, 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 very odd one here.
Yeah.
Let's just get this out of the way. Please don't leave the video. Just give me a second. Bullet for my Valentine. They're not actually nu metal.
Yeah, I wouldn't put them in this list at all.
But this is the thing. They're always kind of associated and up there with the nu metal style and that era. They're more of the later era when it started dying off, so I think that's why it's so weird, because then metalcore became more of a thing.
Yeah.
But there's, to me, a weird mix between nu metal and metalcore. So I don't think they should go high at all, but the stuff that is a bit more nu metal is freaking great and iconic. So
and I think it's worth mentioning something that's making a comeback is, the whole nu metalcore movement that's like prevalent stuff.
People are
and
loving
obviously
the stuff.
they're one of the early metalcore bands. I think their influence still shows in the more nu metal like music, I guess.
Yeah. I was torn to put this on this list, but I thought, why not? That being said, C tier. Because or even D, because they're not that...
I would put them in D.
Yeah, they're good.
They're good, but they don't fit in with...
Yeah, they're not mixing with anything else. They're the little eggshell piece. Like, it's still part of the egg, yes, but it shouldn't actually be in there. Taproot. What do you think of Taproot? I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think I would like them, but then I ended up really liking them.
I feel like they went under the radar and they shouldn't have, because they really, I would say, some of the best musicians from this era.
They are freaking
But nobody knows them. That's the thing. So I would put them in A tier just because they're awesome. They're amazing musicians, but they just weren't big.
I like them so much.
They weren't super influential.
Yeah, they weren't that influential. I like them so much, I just kept listening to them. I've been listening to them a lot the last week just because they're sick. So where would you put them? Because they're really good. So B?
A strong B or a low A, I think. Just because they weren't as big as they could have been.
I like them. So I'll put them in lower A.
Yeah.
Nah, let's put it in B. I think it's only fair. It's only fair between all the rest to put them in B.
Ooh, Let's do Evan's Essence.
Evan's Essence.
Yes.
Yeah, fun. Anyway, so this is a weird one because I didn't want to put this in. I'm like, what are you talking about? Evanescence. But then you go listen to the stuff and it's like, instrumentally, this is new metal as fuck.
Yeah.
This is very much new metal, but only clean vocals, which obviously knocks it back a bit. But it is iconic, for good or worse, depending what you like. It's inarguably, it is new metal.
Yeah. What's cool about them for me is they kind of made new metal a lot more accessible.
That's also true. You gotta
Yeah.
give respect to that because new metal is not a gatekeeper thing like thrash metal or whatever. Like new metal is very lenient.
I think Evanescence is a lot of people's gateway drug into, the heavier bands.
Yes. So B tier, everything is B tier. How about we put them in?
No, we can't put them in C.
Put in the C. I don't know because
I feel like that's a
they're
good
just
spot.
B.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's. The Union Underground. I went through the list and Rian was just like, who the fuck?
Not
But
a clue.
they only had 2 albums.
Yeah.
And I think in a consecutive years. So they weren't as big. But they weren't that bad.
Yeah, for me, I didn't really like them at all.
They had a very Slipknot-y type of vibe. They were very similar to Slipknot, but not as good as Slipknot.
The only thing I can say about them is that they're new metal.
They're new metal. They are very new metal.
Yeah, so that's about it. For me, it's a solid D tier.
D.
Yeah.
D, that low. Fine, we'll put them in D, but
Someone has to go.
not because someone has to go there, and it's not because they're bad, I promise. Let's throw in a big one. Papa Roach. A lot of this stuff, very hip-hop influence, with nice riffs as well. So...
they were massive.
And
they kind of took over the whole MTV thing in the time.
Yeah, this is pretty much MTV personified, if you think about it. So how high would you say?
I would put them in A tier.
I feel like they're in A as well. They're not the most heavy band, and I like heavy shit.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna put them that high, but big respect.
Yeah.
Great music.
Millies.
Gooi vir my bietjie milies daar so asseblief. Korn. I mean, this is probably the most influential new metal band out there.
Yeah.
Period. Because they're one of the first and they fucking killed it. They just nailed the sound.
They were one of the first bands to use 7 strings. So
props to...
That's a big thing for metal in general.
Props to Korn for being fucking low, thank you. And also big bonus points for having the bass always obnoxiously loud. The bass is so loud in this music. But Korn is Korn. You can't be anything else than Korn. Let's do... What is it now? Saliva. Saliva's not...
It doesn't want.
Saliva doesn't... What happened? So, Saliva, I thought it was going to be a lot worse, but it wasn't. Mainly because the newer stuff is more butt rock style, but the old stuff is more new metal. It is very much new metal. So, this band is evolving just backwards. So, So, I like them, but let's maybe say C tier because they're still good. Want to throw in another curveball for the audience? Rage Against the Machine. Is Rage Against the Machine new metal?
No, but they kind of I feel like they were the spark that started it all.
They
were the first, rap metal kind of thing.
They had such a big influence.
One.
Yeah, very big influence on this style, even though they're not heavy. I would very much consider them more rock, not metal. What do you think, C or B?
I feel C, because a big part of their image was their political views and and stuff.
Yeah, and also just fuck the government in general.
They've kind of become pro-government and things like that, so I wouldn't say they sold out, but they definitely didn't stick to what they were doing.
Also true. I like this band. Cold Chamber. Oh, so thick, so groovy. I can feel the strings vibrating in my ass, and it's just so good. Very weird band, but I'm about that crackhead energy. So, and also their biggest song, Loco, like that.
Yeah.
Groove is just it's so nice. Loco. So, I would put them very high. I'd put them A.
Yeah, me
because
too.
I would personally want to put them in S, not because I think they're that big or that good, just because I fucking love it.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? A or S?
I feel A also then again, just because I feel like they were kind of at the core new metal scene. They never did like the big arena thing that some of the other bands on this list did. So I think it's cool they kind of stayed part of the scene, I guess.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Which is cool for me.
Fair enough. Alright, moving on. Yeah, let's do some Slipknot. Let's go, baby. I mean, do you know someone who doesn't like Slipknot?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people, but
Metalheads that don't like Slipknot.
yeah.
What?
I don't know why they are polarizing it. I just think they're awesome. They're one of the first metal bands I ever listened to.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get hung up on like the whole gimmick they have going, but it's not what I think defines them. Even if they weren't like known as the band that wears masks and uses beer kegs as instruments, I think they would have been just as good. And they stayed with it.
I'm wearing a Slipknot shirt. I didn't even realize it.
And they're still killing it.
They're still killing it.
Still just as good as they were back in.
A lot of people don't like the new
90s.
stuff, but I think that's bull. I think they're still very talented. And also, crackhead vibes, very heavy. They're probably one of the heaviest, most aggressive bands.
Yeah.
And big respect for my part. They did do a lot of dreads, so also bonus points for dreads. So, are they going S tier or D? Yeah,
yes.
Okay. You love Slipknot.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I also love Slipknot, so it's a big one. And all of my friends really like Slipknot, so I feel like if I don't put them in S, there's going to be some problems. I'm not going to be invited into any birthday parties or barbecues anymore. Kitty with IE. This band is kind of badass.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like they're just as good as any other new metal band on this list, but they have a girl vocalist, which is so unheard
everyone's
of,
girl,
which is unheard of at this time, I think.
But
and they absolutely kill it, dude.
Kitty instrumentally is not that good for me. Like some of the instruments you can hear, like, it's not like really fully developed yet. Also, the sound is very balls to the walls. And
it's very raw sounding, but that's kind of cool in a way.
And the vocals aren't really as good, and that's why I think they're a fucking brilliant band. Because they just don't give a fuck. They're just vibes and being badass.
Yeah.
So I would put them very high up on the list. We've got more S tiers than anything else, I just realized. A tier?
I feel that,
I feel like an A tier, because they're not everyone's cup of tea, that's understandable, but they're fucking good, so I'm gonna put them up there. If you don't think they're up there, make your own list. Oh, Drowning Pool. My mouth's like watering just thinking about this. I have a lot of sentimental value for Drowning Pool.
Same. I think Bodies was the first metal song I routinely listened to when I was going through my edgy 13-year-old,
It was not Bodies for me. You know what it was for me? Very, very aggressive band. I fucking love this band. So I want to put them an S for personal reasons. But where do you think objectively they should go?
I think A tier.
A tier? Solid A tier?
Yeah, because they weren't super technical. And you don't need to be good, obviously, but they weren't super technical. They were big, and for me also they kind of, in my mind, they're kind of the Disturbed category, where they had one song that was like really massive, but no one really bothered to listen to the other stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, still pretty freaking big. Let's do this one. Soulfly.
All I really know about this band is that they have some of the Sepultura members, and that for me automatically makes them one of the better bands, just in terms of, you know, technical ability and stuff.
So I agree with you. Soulfly is talented, very cool. I want to put them in like C or B because
they were never as huge as Sepultura.
It was.
It felt. I think it felt more like a side project.
It's not. Yeah, it's not even for me like about being big. It's just like it didn't feel original to me, and I would rather just listen to something else. Not that I hate this band, just yeah, it's not doing it for me. Strong C. Okay, we'll put them in a strong C. Ooh, we've got two big ones left. Fear Factory. I think Fear Factory is pretty freaking sick.
Yeah, same.
Like, they got some good ass shit. And a lot of the songs over all the years are pretty much the same, so you can't really say anything bad about them. Well, it's kind of like the Limp Bizkit thing, where it's like the typical guy to listen this has like the giant fucking visors and comes home at 1 a.m. slightly drunk wanting to fight. Maybe B, but they're really good.
Yeah.
B?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll put them in B. Just because lifestyle choices. Alright, cool. Last one of the list. And this is also a big sentimental one for me, Machine Head. I love Machine Head because I think they've got such good music and they've got a bit of everything to them.
Yeah.
And whether you like the old heavy stuff or the newer, still heavy stuff, but a bit more modern, which is how I got into them. When I started getting into like metalcore, I discovered Machine Head and I'm like, this is freaking perfect. This is what you need. What do you need in this? So they've got a bit of everything for me. So
yeah, what can I say? Machine Head.
Machine Head.
Yeah.
The vocal style might get tiring for me after a while. That's the only complaint I'd had, but I'd bear with it. I don't even care. So, you think S or A?
I think A.
A.
Because when you say new metal, you don't necessarily...
You don't
it's
think...
not one of the first bands that pop up in your head.
They're not, but when you go listen to them, you're like, holy shit, this is so cool, so new metal. So, yeah, this is the whole list.
Yeah.
So
I think we didn't do too bad.
Well, everything is higher. We are severely lacking in detail. To be fair, there were a few bands that were on the list that I took out just because they were a bit lower, and it wasn't that I thought, oh, you're not worth it. It's because they just weren't as well known, so it was kind of awkward for me to put them there because there wasn't much to talk about. Let's look at S tier quickly, while we have time. How would you rank S tier, all the bands in S tier?
Like 1 to...
Maybe not Culture. We won't rank Culture, but I know I did it dirty by putting them in there. So looking at these ones, who would you want to put first?
I'm gonna rank them by S. I'm gonna put Limp Bizkit in 1
first
because they're just the most
the
new
most
metal, but they're just the new metal band.
Cap.
If you told AI to generate
new metal,
it would be Limp Bizkit. So
pretty much.
And then I would put Korn. They kind of also that sound. They're the new metal sound, and obviously they're Korn.
Yeah.
And then I would say Slipknot. Okay. Because they still have the strong, hip hop influence, which kind of defines.
Oh, they do have hip hop.
Yeah,
I wanted to put Linkin before that because they're stronger hip hop. But now that you mention it, actually Slipknot did do it.
Only reason I'm not putting Linkin Park is they're not, let's say, as metal as
They do have good ships.
They do, but they're just not as heavy as
Yeah, they actually wanted to make metal good. Unlike some of the others that were just like rage, anger, tits, convertible cars.
And it's only putting System 5th because they kind of standout one, I guess. Like if you heard System of a Down, you wouldn't necessarily immediately put them in the box of new metal.
System of a Down isn't even in a box, it's in its own factory.
Exactly.
It's just this weird, wacky thing. And then I put Cold Chamber just in there because fuck you. Because Cold Chamber is to me just the crackhead energy that I love about.
Yeah.
So that's why I put them there. But I also really love all of these bands.
Yeah.
All of these bands have a very big influence on my style, I would say. Even frickin' what's this called again?
The Union Underground.
The Union Underground. Even them, like, rather listen to Union Underground than frickin' Fall Out Boy. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We really like making these tier lists. If you guys like this video, please subscribe. We are so close to 100 subs. We'd love to get there. Please check out Rian. He's been a great guest and a good friend. I bought him some nuggies to bribe him to come and get I think well worth it. And if you guys want to see more tier lists, please tell us. If you want to see another tier list, please go look this tier list that's in front of Rian's face right here. And until next time, we will see you. Cheers.